I feel privileged every time I get an opportunity to interact with and work with YearUp. And the reason is I feel so proud about the company I keep when I'm here. And that pride comes from the confidence I have with the quality of the people that I see throughout the organization. From the very beginning, when Gerald came out to San Francisco to see if there was an opportunity to extend the fantastic organization with its powerful vision, not just a vision, but an organization that's been delivering with great outcomes across the East Coast. And I was so impressed when I saw other people get excited about it. When I saw folks like Scott Donahue step up and say, I want to be involved, I knew it was really going to be something great. Then when I saw Jay Banfield step up and become executive director of the organization, I said, this is going to be a great place. I don't know if you all realize this, but in the city of San Francisco, Jay's the man. Jay is a player in San Francisco. If you had the opportunity to go into the sort of the backroom parlors of San Francisco politics, where the power brokers are, I guess, brokering power or whatever they do in those back rooms, you'd see Jay in just about every one of those rooms. So my prediction, I'll put it out here on the line first, Jay will be the mayor of San Francisco. Not the upcoming election, not the one that we could probably use him, but he's got a little more work, I think, to do at YearUp before we give him up to the city. But, hopefully he'll let me work on that campaign when the time's right. So this is not the first time I've been asked to speak at a graduation. The first time was, in fact, my college graduation, which was several years ago. And I don't want to say that it was a terrible speech that I gave, but this is the first time in 25 years anyone's asked me to do it since. So you be the judge. Truth be told, it was not a very good speech. And the reason is, I thought to myself at that time, I should try to take some great wisdom from other people's lives. So I thought about great speakers, orators that had sort of moved people. John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Yogi Berra, all the biggies. And people laugh about Yogi. He's the man. We know more statements from Yogi Berra than those other guys put together. But anyway, so I thought that would be the right way to give a speech to folks in graduation. And it turns out those are kind of hollow words because they weren't really from the heart. There was one small piece of my speech, which is the only piece today anyone who saw that graduation would remember, where I talked about something that happened to me in my life. A close childhood friend of mine that actually died, unfortunately, right before my graduation. And when I talked about what she meant to me and the sort of obvious symbolism of graduating and moving on and losing a friend as well, that was powerful. People remembered that. People to the day remember that. Everything else, long forgotten. My grandmothers couldn't remember anything else from that presentation other than that one piece. So what I thought about for today, that I would try to think about my life, and I think I've earned a lot of these gray hairs that have come up in those last 25 years, and I thought I'd give you guys a couple points that maybe be little nuggets for you as you go forward. So I've got 3 pieces of advice for you. They're not related in any way. The first one is read the sports section. And you think to yourself, why would I read the sports section? Well, I'll tell you, you're going to consume a lot of media in your life. Television, increasingly the internet, newspapers, magazines. And the vast majority of everything that you consume is going to be negative. It's going to talk about tragedies in the world. It's going to talk about natural disasters. It's going to talk about human failures and human failings. And if you let that all weigh you down, you're going to become cynical, and you're not going to see the possibility in what the human race can do. But when you read the sports section, it's the one part of the news that actually talks about the flip side. It talks about people that have committed themselves to, with a passion, to something they care about deeply, whatever sport or game they play. You're going to see people coming over tremendous adversity and really putting themselves out there to try to, in the end, be victorious in whatever they're trying to achieve. And so I think if you do that, it's good for your soul, and it will lift your spirit as you go out into the world every day. So that's advice number 1. Read the sports page. Second piece of advice, have children. Now, I think you should have them early and have them often. It does not mean you need to start like tonight on having them, but don't wait too long. And the reason is, if you have children, you will have an opportunity to have the greatest joy that anyone can have in their life. And that joy will dramatically exceed the occasional frustration, the disappointment, the moments of intense anger. Did I mention the frustrations? Because they're all part of it. But they really will be swamped by the tremendous joy. And the reason is, when you have children, you get a fantastic gift. And that's the gift to love someone more than you love yourself. And there might be a few of you out there that have that ability to love people more than yourself. I wasn't one of those people myself, and I don't think there are too many. But once you have the ability to love someone else more than you love yourself, you can have the greatest joy in life, which is to realize how wonderful it is to help other people, to feel so good about yourself and proud about yourself because you put yourself out there for others. And for most of us, I think until you have the experience of having children, you just can't get there. All right, that's number 2. So the third piece is to write your own story. What the heck does that mean? First 2 are pretty easy. Read the sports page, probably figure that one out on yourself. Have children, I hope I don't have to explain to you how that's going to work. If you have any questions afterwards, I can draw some pictures and talk real slowly to explain it for you. But write your own story. So that's a little tricky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take just a minute and tell you a little bit something about my story that no one in this room knows. In fact, only about half a dozen people in the world know. So I grew up in Seattle, Washington, and I had a wonderful experience, maybe not unlike your experience at YearUp, when I got to attend a great educational institution called the Lakeside School. And the Lakeside School is notable for many things. One of it is that most of the people there are rich. In fact, recently there was a list of the top 10 richest people in the world, and 3 of them were graduates of the Lakeside School, including the richest person in the world, Bill Gates. So a lot of people there were very well off. The second thing is, at the time I attended the Lakeside School, pretty much everyone there came from a traditional nuclear family of a mother, father, and a couple of children. And I was different from some of those folks. I grew up just with my mother, and we weren't rich, but I had a wonderful opportunity to attend the Lakeside School because I had a great mother. I like to say I won the ovarian lottery, and I got a great mom. And because of that, she sacrificed a lot for me, and she figured out a way to get me a scholarship to go to the Lakeside School, and created some wonderful opportunities that have come forward. And so the learnings I have about attending there at this point are twofold. She heard the advice if I have children. She said, I'm on top of that one, and done already. I love it. I love people that listen. The thing that happened to me there is, first I realized something unusual about myself. I was uncomfortable being different, and I tried to hide the fact that I was different. I didn't want people to know that I didn't have the same family structure that everyone else had, and I didn't want people to know that we weren't rich. That's a hard thing to hide, but I tried. And when I look back on it now, I'm disappointed that I wasn't more comfortable with myself. I wasn't proud about what I had. I was the luckiest guy there. I had a mom that loved me so much that she sacrificed so much more than the other people there to give me that opportunity. Instead of being proud about that, I was embarrassed that I wasn't like everyone else. When you go forward, don't ever be embarrassed about your background. Be proud about what you've done and how you got there. Thank you. It's always safe to say you love your mom. Everyone can relate to the love your mom parts of the story. But the second piece that was sort of good that came out of it, I never set a lower goal for myself. I never thought that just because we didn't go to Hawaii for every vacation, just because I didn't get a shiny Audi when I turned 16, didn't mean that I shouldn't have the same goals and aspirations in both my professional career, my educational opportunities, and my personal life. And I think you should take that message with you. As you come out of this program and you're writing your own story, don't ever set your goals lower than other people just because they have different backgrounds or had different advantages than you do. So I think that you're writing the story, and it comes in some chapters. So chapter 1, maybe that was your youth. That was your time, let's call it before YearUp. BYU, I guess, before YearUp. Chapter 2, maybe that's the transformational experience for you that YearUp has delivered. And tonight, you're graduating from YearUp. And I think you should celebrate. Who's going to celebrate tonight, graduating from YearUp? I see some enthusiasm for the celebration, and I like that. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, and judging from your celebration, you might be waking up a little later tomorrow morning than you normally wake up. But when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're into chapter 3. And you need to think about that next step in your life, in your story. And while you're living chapter 3, you also need to be thinking about some new tricks for chapters 4, 5, and 6, because it's a never-ending story throughout your whole life. I think it's really important that you're proud of what you've accomplished here. And I hope that you all get together from time to time, you graduates, and reminisce about the good old days. These are your good old days. And never be anything but proud about that. But don't let it become your pinnacle. Don't let it turn into your glory days. You say, I accomplished that, that was the pinnacle, now I'm just going to coast. Chapter 2 is it, the rest of the chapters are going to be flat. Because if you start living in the glory days, you wake up and you realize that life's passed you by so quickly. So keep writing those next chapters as you go forward. I believe this is a group, having come through this program at YearUp, and having thrived in this program, that you have the potential, you have the intelligence, you have the drive and the ambition that you're going to be able to write some fantastic stories. In fact, I think you're going to write some classics. Congratulations, class. Thank you for having me.